When Bruce Lee died in 1973, he left behind an unquestioned legacy in his films. But beyond his films, there is another legacy, in his martial art, jeet kune. This is not a movie on Bruce Lee. It is the first and only training film on jeet kune by Bruce Lee himself. To compile this film, we have had the complete cooperation of the Bruce Lee estate, enabling us to draw, for the first time, from Bruce Lee's private training films and videos, as well as his audio records and his own training and research notes. The film is narrated by Bruce Lee, with additional input from his son Brandon Lee and from Dan Inosanto, the man Bruce chose to carry on his jeet kune.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee. I was born in San Francisco in 1940. My martial art is intentionally jeet kune, the way of the intercepting fist. In case you have missed the recent news, jeet kune, of which I am the founder, has been elected and accepted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame in America. This marks the first time a recently developed form of martial art is nationally accepted. No, jeet kune is not thousands or even hundreds of years old. It started in around 1965 by a dedicated and intensified man called Bruce Lee. And my martial art is something that no serious martial artist can ignore.
I met Bruce Lee in 1964 through Ed Parker, who was my Tempo karate instructor at that time. And it was the first year of the first international karate championships held in Long Beach. When Bruce arrived in the United States, he had the training in Wu-style Tai Chi, sometimes in Hong Kong they call it Unga. And he had the course training in Western boxing. He had training in fencing from his brother. That's Epe, that goes from toe to head. He had training, obviously, in Wing Chun. And the other area was the training he had received in, they call it Buk Pai, or it's Tam Toi. He used 12 sets in Tam Toi. And then believe he traded with a Choi Lee Fat man. So those were the arts that Bruce brought into the United States. In the beginning, he used the Wing Chun as the base system, or the first system. But as time went on, he went away from that, started to extract different things from different systems and put it to his personal use. That's why we say absorb what is useful and reject what is useless for you. That's the concept. Okay? He says using no way as a way. In other words, it's not a Japanese way, it's not a Chinese way, it's not a Korean way, it's not an Okinawan way, it's not a Filipino way, it's not an Indonesian way. He's saying using no way as the way. You are the way. Okay? Then he says using no limitation as a limitation. That's the concept in jeet kune. That means I don't limit myself to a Filipino style or an Indonesian style or a Malay style. I use what is useful for me, because at certain times a certain art may be useful under a certain environment.
Kung Fu is originated in China. It is the ancestor of karate and jiu-jitsu. It's more of a complete system, and it's more fluid. Kung Fu can be practiced alone or with a partner. Practicing alone, they involve form. Some imitate a crane, a monkey, a praying mantis.
Martial arts include all the combative arts like karate or karate, judo, Chinese kung fu or Chinese boxing, whatever you call it. All those. You see, like aikido, Korean, I can go on and on and on. But it's a combative form of fighting. I mean, it's not, some of them became sport, but some of them are still not. I mean, they use, for instance, kicking to the groin, jabbing fingers at the eyes, and things like that.
He mixed his trapping into grappling. He had 32 different sequences, as you could see in The Game of Death and the Way of the Dragon. Those two films, he's getting the grappling, the face locks, the head locks.
Originally, Bruce taught us various different trapping methods. For instance, if the punch was to come in, we would trap it. We would come back here and we would lock up. This would be the lock-up position that we would use.
To me, to me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. Now, it is very difficult to do. I mean, it is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky, and be flooded with a cocky feeling and then feel like pretty cool and all that. Or I can make all kinds of phony things, you see what I mean, blinded by it. Or I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, express myself honestly, that, my friend, is very hard to do.
Ever since the big boss, there seems to be a wave, a hot wave, in fact, of finding another Bruce Lee among all types of people, particularly martial artists, ranging from karate man, hapkido man, judo man, etc., etc., forgetting about whether or not they possess the ability to act just so as they can halfway decent to kick or punch, and hopefully, knowing a few tricks or gimmicks, the producers will make them a star. Now let's talk about here. Is it that simple to become a star? Well, I can assure you it's not that simple. Also, I can tell you that as more Bruce Lee's films are shown, the audience will soon realize not only in acting ability, but in physical skill as well, they will see the difference. For example, in The Way of the Dragon, my skill is matched with an American champion, Chuck Norris, who happens to be a 7-time winner of both the All-American Open and World Karate Championship as well. Then there is Bob Wall, the 1970 heavyweight karate champion, plus Wong Nan-sik, the 7th-degree Hapkido expert, which some audience have seen him in the film called Hapkido. Of course, it is only movie making, people will say, but I'm sure that the audience are not so insensitive as to not be able to see and judge by themselves and compare these men's speed, power, rhythm, coordination, versatilities, etc., etc.
I started training with my dad really as soon as I could walk. I mean, my dad was a really diligent trainer. He always had people over at the house practicing. My dad had a circle of students that were close to him, so they were friends of our family. And one of those men, Danny Inosanto, continued to be my teacher, so it was kind of a nice unbroken line. I have his books at home with all of his underlining and his notes in them, and it's fascinating to see where he drew his sources from, from what sources he drew. He's got books on Western fencing at home that he would use, on boxing. I remember he always used to say that you want to try and absorb what is useful discard what is useless and add what is essentially your own. And that was kind of his credo in creating Jeet Kune Do.
When people ask me the question in interviews generally what my style is, I usually say, well, my father created the art of Jeet Kune Do while he was alive, and I have been trained in that. Because it's simple to say that. But I actually truly feel that it's a little bit too simple to say that. Because Jeet Kune Do was my father's very personal expression of the martial arts. He intended to kill a lot of sacred cows. So I always feel a little bit silly saying that I practice Jeet Kune Do, although I certainly have been trained in it. It would be more accurate to say that I practice my own interpretation of Jeet Kune Do, just as, frankly, everyone who practices Jeet Kune Do does, because that's what it was intended to be. Danny, my Sifu, always talks about teaching Jeet Kune Do concepts. In other words, teaching someone the concepts, a certain way of thinking behind the martial arts, as opposed to teaching them techniques. To me, that kind of illustrates the difference between giving someone a fish and teaching them how to fish. You know that old story, right? You can teach someone a certain block, and then they have that block. Or you can teach someone the concept that lies behind such a block, and then you have given them an entire area of thinking that they can grow and evolve in themselves. They can say, I see, so that's the concept. Then you could probably also do this, right? Yeah. And that's, I think, a lot of what lies behind Jeet Kune Do, and that is then dedicated to creating a really creative, free-form martial artist.
You see, actually, I do not teach, karate, because I do not believe in styles anymore. I mean, I do not believe that there is such thing as like Chinese way of fighting or the Japanese way of fighting or whatever way of fighting, because unless human beings have 3 arms and 4 legs, we will have a different form of fighting. But basically, we have only 2 hands and 2 feet.
Unless we have other group of beings on Earth that are structurally different from us, then there might be a different style of fighting. Now, why is that? Because we have 2 hands and 2 legs. The important thing is how can we use it to the maximum in terms of path, straight line, curved line, round lines. They might be slow, but depending on the circumstances, sometimes that might not be slow. And in terms of legs, you can kick up straight, same thing, right? Now, and after all that, then you ask yourself, how can you honestly express yourself at that moment? And being yourself, when you punch, you really want to punch. Not you want to punch because trying to avoid not getting hit, but to really be in with it and express yourself. Now that is to me the most important thing, and that is how can I, in the process of learning how to use my body, to understand myself. Now the unfortunate thing is, now there's boxing, which use hands, judo, which is throwing. Now there's boxing, which use hands, judo, which is throwing. Now I'm not putting them down, mind you, but I'm saying one thing that is a bad thing, and that is because of style, people are separated. They are not united together because styles became law. But the original founder of the style started out with hypotheses. But now it has become the gospel truth. And people that go into it became the product. It doesn't matter how you are, who you are, how you are structured, how you are built, how you are made. It doesn't matter. You just go in there and be that product. And that, to me, is not right.
So styles tends to not only separate men, because they have their own doctrines, and then the doctrine became the gospel truth, that you cannot change, But if you do not have style, if you just say, well, here I am, as a human being, how can I express myself totally and completely? Now, that way, you won't create a style, because style is a crystallization, that way, it's a process of continuing growth. First, we use the feet, and then we use the elbow, in fighting, there is a finger jab, there is a punch, there is a back fist, and the fighting. It depends on where you hit and what weapon you will be using. I can use my longest weapon, my thigh kick, against the nearest target, your kneecap. It can be compared to your left jab in boxing, except it's much more damaging. You name it, man, we use it all. You have to, you see, because, I mean, that is the expression of the human body. I mean, everything. I mean, not just the hand. And when you're talking about combat, well, I mean, if it is a sport, now you're talking about something else. You have regulations, you have rules. But when you're talking about fighting, as it is, with no rules, well, then, baby, you better train every part of your body. A good martial art is like water. Why? Because water is insubstantial. By that I mean you cannot grasp hold of it. You cannot punch it and hurt it. So be soft like water and flexible. Be firm, shapeless like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Maintain lightning speed without sacrificing tremendous punching power. I believe I found the cause of my ignorance. You'll see a jeet kune do punch is very scientific and practical, especially in street situations.
Okay, I'm going to start off with the basics. Normally we would taught in the right lead, but I like to go with the left and right lead, so I'm going to demonstrate in the right lead. Okay? Now when the punch comes, you parry it across like this, and as you do so, you strike. Okay, slow motion. 1, 2. You can do it together, or do it separate. You can catch and then go, or parry and then go, or do it together. When you do it together, you're going to hit it. I'm going to give you the side view over here. Slow motion. 1. It's flipping on the outside, flipping on the outside. We do a lot of drills, as I said, we incorporate from many different systems. Okay, so the first basic is to slip and hit. Again, in slow motion, slip and hit. Okay, slip and hit, slip and hit. Now, as they punch, I'm going to slip inside and hit. Slow motion, slip, inside and hit, slip, inside and hit. Now you can do it together, or you can parry slightly a hit of your cross this way, or you slip and hit an opposite side step. Okay? Okay, that's your basics. Okay. Let me illustrate this over. As the focus lift comes out from your trainer, I want you to slip, cross, hook, cross. Slow again. Parry, cross, hook, cross. These are the basic drills that we were taught to follow up. They can be found in Western boxing. They can be found in Filipino boxing. This one here, when you slip, you cross, you hook, you cross. However, you can slip first, and then hook, then cross, then hook. Again, slip, hook, cross, hook. We can also, when they jab, parry this hand, cross it here. When they move back, you cross, you hook, you cross. Again, slip, cross, cross, hook, cross. Again, slip, cross, hook, cross. Last time. Slip, okay, cross, hook, cross. Okay, that's your basic.
Arm movement, watch now. You see, there was only arm and shoulder. Shoulder kind of tends to. No, definitely, it's a tends to. Later on, you check the different. Now, the feet was involved a little bit just now. It was fine. Shoulders too tight. Notice that in the beginning, when I say that you just involve only arm and shoulder. Now, your hand, the last time when I saw you was very, very good and fast. Now, Your hand, the last time when I saw you was very, very good and fast. Now let's see if this can do one. Now that, let me see another one. You got to involve your feet a little bit more. You see? Hand and feet. Got a hand and feet. Pretty good. Now watch, I think that when I attack you in a reactionary type of a thing that tightening on the shoulder, now watch you. Watch when I try to attack you. I think when you react to it, then you just do not tense yourself too much, You just then react and just boom, go into it. Now that, I just say, use only the hand just now, I say. Now, boom. You see, when you move your hand and feet, boy, it makes a world of difference. You see, now, it should be a little bit more relaxing. Again, aha. Getting there, my friend. Good. That one was pretty good. Pretty good. No, that was a little bit too tight. Now watch this one. Good. Now that could be used in film. Here we go.
Okay, let's say that this person is standing here. At this point, for purpose of illustration, I might use what they call the sachet, okay, that they use in Savate, which is like that. See? When I come in, I can go into Wing Chun. At that point, I might flow into Western boxing, okay? At another point, I might go into a lock similar to what you might use in Jiu-Jitsu, and for the purpose of camera, I'll take the person down like this and lock the person here, and maybe go into any system that employs this type of lock, whether it be Jiu-Jitsu or Aikido or Kali or Punjab Silat. Now, you notice that we went from system to system without a flow. Okay? I might stay out here, use any particular kick, break into Wing Chun range, and right from here, use a Muay Thai elbow, all right? And for the purpose of camera, I'm going to go slow, and come into various lock position over here. Okay? This is what we call the Jeet Kune Do blend. It is not a system where we go from discipline to discipline without a thought process. And this is very important in the concept of JKD.
Karate punch is like an iron bar. Whack! A Jeet Kune Do punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end, and it goes whang, and it hurts inside.
What was that?
Hayward Nishioka, the Japanese-American national judo champion, who is also a black belt holder in the Shotokan style of karate, ran a scientific test in a California university to find out the difference between a karate punch and a Jeet Kune Do punch. And the finding is that indeed the Jeet Kune Do punch is more powerful and destructive than the classical karate punch.
And when you do punch, now lean forward a little bit, hoping not to hurt any camera angle. I mean, you got to put the whole thing into it and snap it and get all your energy in there and make this into a weapon.
To reach me, you must move to me. So attack offers me an opportunity to intercept you. Don't charge him blindly.
In combat, distance is a continually shifting relationship. Depending on the speed, agility, and control of both fighters. It is a constant, rapid shifting of ground, seeking the slightest closing, which will greatly increase the chances of hitting the opponent.
Okay, so I'm going to start off first with the footwork system, because this is the mobility system or the transportation system or the system of delivery, okay? Traditionally, when he started off in 1964 when he taught me, we raised the left heel up. This thing is pointed in, and this is what he referred to as the Bai-Jong stance, like this, okay? So I'm going to start off first with the basic footwork. This is a step and slide shuffle, step aside back. Okay, so this is the first two. Advance, retreat, move to the right, and move to the left. In the beginning of those earlier years, in 1964, they always went with the right lead. But as time went on, we decided to go both left and right lead. So we again practiced our footwork with the advance, retreat, move to the left, move to the right. Then we advance and retreat in one motion, and we retreat and advance. Double advance, double retreat, double left, and double right. This should be also done on the right lead, as I'm doing here very slowly, okay, and switching over as so, okay. The basic footwork which we use, okay. This method here, he taught us also is slide lead, as I'm doing here very slowly, okay, and switching over as so, okay. The basic footwork which we use, okay. This method here, he taught us also is slide step and slide step advance. So you slide a step, then you take a step off. Slide, and then step, slide and step, slide and step. The left lead, it will look something like this. Slide and step back, slide and step back. Then you have something that looks like your step and slide shuffle, but it's not. That's what they call a push shuffle. You push off, and you push back. Rather than take a step here and slide, you push, and you push back. This is what we refer to as the push shuffle on the right lead. Then you'd learn it on the left lead, push shuffle, push shuffle, push shuffle, push shuffle. Okay, after that he taught us the circle. The circle you learn to quarter turn, which means I'm going to turn as if your opponent is here, we move. As if your opponent turns that way, you move, okay? Turns this way, we move. Turns this way, we move. Now your opponent's circling this way, so we move. So we learn to circle around like this. He circles this way, we move. Circles this way, and move. We do this again in the right lead also. Okay, so the man is circling this way, we move. Circles 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 this way, we move. Then we reverse it. This way, your opponent's moving, so you just move around, moving around, okay? All right, this is your transport system that we use, or what they call the delivery system.
This is on combination kicking. Now, you will notice a difference. In the beginning, you tend to over-chasing yourself. In other words, you're covering too much distance. Therefore, when you kick, then your center of gravity is moving forward too much, and the form in kicking is greatly affected. Now, the reason you're going back because your body was leaning too much back. Now that's what is called a commitment kick. I mean, when you try to go through something, when you're trying to really kick to hurt, then you would lean back, but you won't do it in a combination kicking. No, you see, you are rushing yourself there. I mean, you should really, in the beginning, just take your time and go boom and boom and no. You see, you still. It's not so much on the physical. Mentally, you are chasing yourself out, Now, watch this now. In slow motion, bum and bum. But you see, the body line is always there instead of overreaching, you know what I mean? You kind of rest back. But as you progress on, though, here we go. 1 and 2, just easily, you know what I mean? Here we go. And 1, that's good. 2, and then once you get that, then you go into the kicking form, make sure that it is right, and 2, and 3. Now you are more in control now. You are more thinking of 1, 2, 3. And don't just, think of 3 already. That's even better now. Now, there is a snap at the end in this one, too. The other one, you are just, doing the formula. Boom, and a boom, and a boom. You see, all you need to do is just really snap the leg and just step and slide into it. Boom, and a boom, and a boom. That's right. Good. Now you're not overchasing yourself. Now you're pacing yourself right. Here we go. 1, and 2, and 3. Good. Here we go. Boom, and a boom, and a boom. Now, good. Now, the last one, though, you were a little bit off balance, but there was definitely a boom, boom, boom in there, Here we go. Kick, boom, and a boom. Here we go. Boom. Boom. You got to bring the leg back quick. You see, you let it dangle out there too long. Bring it back. You got to bring it back. You got to bring it back. Boom. And boom. You see now? You see how you just boom, and then you lay it out there, but without bringing it back as soon as you can. Now watch this again now. Boom. 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 You should go. Boom to go back. Boom to go back. You know what I mean? Really.
The fighting measure is the distance the fighter keeps in relation to his opponent. It is such that he cannot be hit unless his opponent lunges fully at him.
Martial art has a very, very deep meaning as far as my life is concerned, because as an actor, as a martial artist, as a human being, all these I have learned from martial art. If you wish to train punching, then punch. If you wish to train kicking, then kick.
The power from my kicks and punches are bursting. I demonstrated a side kick on Ken Newton, a powerful Goju stylist that moved so fast that he felt as though his eyeballs were still where he was standing.
Now, first of all, I noticed that in this tape, that as it progresses, your feeling is more involved in the technique, and consequently, your technique also improves. Now, the foot at the ending position in impact is kind of dangling a little bit. Watch it now. Right? I mean, it's not a definite, substantial, straight line directed at it and, hit it square and then come back. Good. Now, that was a pretty good reaction. Good. You're pretty loose here. I see your hands dangling loose. And here we go. One more time. Pretty good. That was really quick too, Did you notice that? See, the thing to watch out really is the initial, a little bit yawning there. The thing to watch out is you have to the initial part has to be fast. But also, that when you finish the technique, you've got to bring it back fast too. So in other words, you've got to be fast from beginning to end. In the spin kick, you will notice a very good lesson in there. Now, just now, it was a little bit off. But the good lesson that I mentioned, now, you are very much in control of the movement. By too much control, therefore, you're kind of concerned about the execution. Therefore, you kind of, like, really tight. Now, that was a pretty smooth movement. But now watch it now. Now, right now, I'm telling you to, really just forget about it. Just do it. Now, boom, you see, right on the target. When you just ease the burden of your mind, you just do it. Now, watch the next two kick now. Just go, boom, right on the head, man. And good speed, too. And boom, boy, right on the head. See, now that's James Coburn in there, kicking. You see what I mean now? You really just, and go into it.
You can feel the kick. When I put my body behind the kick, I mean, you got to put the whole kick into it
and get all your energy in there and make your kick into a weapon. Now, let's see what... Now, in this one, I want to see the initial speed and suddenness of your attack. This is just a simple attack, I think a side kick. And I just want you to see how, going there. Now, you're bouncing now for the sake of bouncing. Now, boom. Now, that one's not there. Now, that one now. You have good intention, you made up your mind, you just go. Not bad, not bad. Now, notice your kick when you finish. You just let it drop down, You do not bring it back quick enough. Now, your initial was quick. If you bring it back quick, the whole kick would just look like a boom. Now, again, you see, you did not bring it back again. Boom. Good. Very good suddenness. Again, you notice your leg, you did not bring it back. Boom. Good. Now, I really like the suddenness, of your... Maybe just a little step there, but listen, man, it passed. Boom. Now, you see, you're in your leg, but your shoulder is a little bit... Now, that was pretty good. Your shoulder may be a little bit tense. The upper body and the lower body has to be united. Now, you see now. I don't think we mentioned it because your leg was... You see, you let it stay and then back. Now, see, definitely, your initial move has really improved. Really improved. Relax and move. 1, 2, 3. Now, that was good. That was good. Boom. A little bit low. Boom. Good. Now, this is the flexibility now. Now, I want you to watch your left leg, the stationary leg. Now, watch the stationary leg one out. The first one, you didn't make it. Now, the second one, you did. Now, watch this now. Watch it. Boom. You see how it really straightened out and you let all the weight rest on the heel and it just reach easily. Now, this is the side kick going over. Now, listen to this now. I like your very good natural feeling on the first one, though the kick was not too good. I mean, you see how it just really, very smoothly it go up there. Now, the second one, you want to control your foot position a little bit. Maybe you are too much control in there. Watch it. You know what I mean? Make it not as natural as the first one. Boom. Mm-hmm. You see now, when you do it right, man, when it touches, your left leg is all stretched out, and it's just an easy type of a thing. Now, I think we are comparing. I let your leg dangle out there. This is I asked you to do it because, you know, so you will get a feeling of it. Now you're going to bring it back quick now. Watch this now. And you see? It was kind of a little bit off balance in the last one, but that's all right. Now you're going to go sideways. Watch now. I like the second one better than the first one. There was more directional in it. Good. Here we go. One more time. No, too low. Second one's okay. See, you come back in one straight line. Here we go. Now watch this illustration. You gotta exaggerate the bringing of the leg back. You see, back. Okay, watch it again. You see, exaggerate the pulling of the leg back. Make it look much more faster and more forceful. Watch this now. I like the naturalness of your kick. Watch it now. You see, at the end, it was really the feeling there, you know?
Get the best jumping what we got. Hey, go! That's one. Oh! One more.
Physically, how can I be so well coordinated that you have to be an athlete? That means you got to have jogging and all the basic ingredient, right?
Well, my dad made a point at the time that he was training that there were a lot of martial artists who weren't paying enough attention to their instrument, you know, and certainly the instrument of the body is what you're going to be using in your practice of the martial arts. So I think it's very important to keep up the tempo, so to speak.
I'm interested in that point you reach where you actually fail from exhaustion in something, whether it's a weight training exercise or a cardiovascular exercise. I'm interested in seeing just how much that point is a physical point and how much it's a mental point. And so that's what I do. I jump a lot of rope, I run, I ride a light cycle. I much more prefer to go out and actually ride a bicycle or run in the seasons. You know. And then I work at the academy, which is on some levels a very cardiovascular workout. Some of the classes I take, like the Muay Thai kickboxing classes, a hell of a cardiovascular workout. Yeah. And then some of the classes are more technique oriented, so you're not huffing and puffing so much as you are just learning individual techniques. And then I work out at the weightlifting gym where I do 2 body parts a day, pretty much, and then I break that up occasionally. So I do like back and biceps on one day, chest and triceps on another day, or something else, and delts and legs on the third, or something like that. And it was just switching. I found that was generally the best thing to do, whether it was with a high weight or a low weight. And what I understood the process to be was that working with heavy weights would build mass, whereas working with low weights was intended to build like density and really carve out the muscle a lot more. And since I personally have never been interested in getting large as much as just getting cut, I tended to work with a lower weight. But then to me, getting cut is also mostly a question of vascularity. It has to do with how much body fat you're carrying. But then to me, getting cut is also mostly a question of vascularity. It has to do with how much body fat you're carrying. So I've always done a lot of cardiovascular work because, but that's also real world power. I mean, I
suppose it's good if you want to pick up heavy objects that have large muscles, but cardiovascular stamina is something that seems to come in handy a lot more often than a large muscle would. You go down to the academy and you try and do a 3-minute round on the Thai pad. I don't care how big your muscles are. If you don't have a real good cardiovascular system, you're going to be dead in about 45 seconds. I'm still going to be going.
Oh, now. You want to check it when it's coming to you.
That's right.
You got a good chance. Pushing. Okay, now, Jim, go take a feedback and give me the blood the sucker and tell them how. Oh, hang on. Now, you raise the sucker. Now, I'm gonna, you are touching your house. That's okay.
Okay.
No, I want you to be a cop. You're still taking a little bit off your side. Taking directly. Good. Now don't take it again, but don't turn the bottom so much when you finish. Try to still face it when you finish. Good. Now kick the sucker when you come back. Not yet, not yet.
During this time period, we used to train because we didn't have any Thai pads, so Sifu Bruce advocated the use of using the football forearm guard, and which we don't use this anymore, but this was very prevalent during that time period. This here is the original punching shield, his own personal punching shield, in fact. This was used as in the Way of the Dragon. If you notice this, he had one part. I had one arm, he had the other arm, and this was used in that picture, Way of the Dragon. This was used in Enter the Dragon. This was actually, its original use is actually used for baton training in Japan, and we just modified it, and we used a special helmet, a boxing headgear we had, and we used it, and this became part of our training, some of the training tools that we used when we used to spar.
Literally, on television, they had to shoot it, they had to overcrank and shoot it in slow motion because otherwise it just looked like a special effect when he moved. I mean, the man was fast. He was deadly fast. I've really never encountered anyone in all of my training since who was as fast. You can certainly train for speed. I think that training for speed is, number one, it's a genetic factor. Yeah, certainly. There are some people who are just gifted. They are fast naturally. But I think training for speed, on the whole, is a question of muscle memory. Speed in an individual movement is something that, we're coming down to, thousandths of a second now. You and I, or even if I and some completely untrained person were to stand side by side facing a focus pad, and when a red light blinked, both flick out a jab, I'd probably win by a couple hundredths of a second. But once you're talking about speed with repetition of movements, to be able to go like that, that's muscle memory. An untrained person would be like, they would falter in their movements because they haven't trained their muscles, or they haven't trained their perception as well to be able to react quickly to a variety of different circumstances.
Martial art is a combative form of the art of expressing the human body. You have to train yourself into it. You better train every part of your body, keeping the continuity going, bending, stretching, everything. You just keep it moving. See, the idea is running water never grows stale. So you got to just keep on flowing.
it back?
To me, at least the way that when I teach it, all type of knowledge ultimately means self-knowledge. Mm-hmm. So therefore, they're coming into, and ask me to teach them not so much of how to defend themselves or how to do somebody in. Rather, they want to learn to express themselves through some movement, be it anger, be it determination, or whatsoever. So in other words, what I'm saying, therefore, is that he's paying me to show him in combative form the art of expressing the human body.
Jeet Kune Do is not a style.
I cannot teach you, only help you to explore yourself, nothing more. Here is the natural instinct, and here is control. You are to combine the two in harmony. Not, if you have one to the extreme, you'll be very unscientific. If you have another to the extreme, you become all of a sudden a mechanical man. Now, James Coburn is a peace-loving man. Now, James Coburn is a peace-loving man. I mean, he's really, really nice. I mean, super mellow and all that. I mean, you know what I mean? Now, he appreciates the philosophical part of it. Therefore, his understanding of it is deeper than Steve.
The martial arts, which are an integral part of my life, come entirely from my father. But the martial arts, I'm completely beholden to my dad for. I mean, he started me in the martial arts when I could walk. He trained me my entire life until he passed away. And then even when I continued my training, it was with one of his students.
You know what I want to think of myself? As a human being. Because, I mean, I don't want to sound like, as Confucius. Hey, but under the sky, under the heaven, man, there is but one family. It just so happened, man, that people are different.
Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
When you move down the road towards the mastery of the martial arts, and you're constantly moving down that road, you end up coming up against these barriers inside yourself that will attempt to stop you from continuing to pursue the mastery of martial arts. And these barriers are such things as when you come up against your own limitations, when you come up against the limitations of your will, your ability, your natural ability, your courage, how you deal with success and failure as well, for that matter. And as you overcome each one of these barriers, you end up learning something about yourself. And sometimes the things you learn about yourself can, to the individual, seem to convey a certain spiritual sense along with them.
I don't believe in systems, nor in methods. And without system, without method, what's to teach? I found the cause of my ignorance.
I studied with Bruce Lee in 1964, and the style or the method, which many people call it, is not really Jeet Kune Do style. It's a concept. And in the concept, Bruce encourages to research many different arts, regardless of its country's origin, whether it's from Japan or China or Okinawa or Korea or Thailand or various different parts of the Orient, and even Western arts. We were encouraged to look into it and find something that worked for us. So Jeet Kune Do, again, is not a style. It is a concept in which you're trying to utilize many different systems and styles and get the essence from it. In 1964, I met Bruce Lee, and these are the things that he stressed. Larry Hartzell was one of his original students, and Larry has been, for the past years, he's been in law enforcement for 8 years. He has an AA degree in criminology. Larry Hartzell is a bodyguard for such people such as Mr. T. And in recent years, he has developed, becoming a very, very good bodyguard and a security person, being hired by various different celebrities in the Los Angeles and Hollywood area. At this time, I'd like to introduce Larry Hartzell. And as I said, he's an original student of Bruce Lee. He's gone his own way. He's developed the Dumog portion of Kali, the wrestling portion, and he's developed even the Jeet Kune Do grappling and trappling, and putting it into his own system. Originally, Bruce taught us various different trapping methods. For instance, if the punch was to come and we were to trap it, we would come back here and we would lock up. This would be the lock-up positions that we would use. So this is basically, Larry has taken it this way, and he's developed it researching different grappling styles, and he's become sort of like our specialist in the Jeet Kune Do, in the grappling phases of the art. So at this time, I'd like to turn over the tape, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, let's say that I was teaching this person knife fighting, and this drill is foreign to her, and she's never done it. So the first thing I would do is tell her to turn the body like this, put the palm up. Okay, would you turn your body, palm up? Okay, covering the center line, and switching to the other side, palm up, going to the center line. The arm pops along like this, okay, and then twist again, palm up. Then I'd ask her to take a step and go like that, and then do a step on the other side, and then palm up, okay, like that. Twist again, palm up. Okay. Now I'm going to ask her to put the hand here so that she will understand that when she takes that step to her left and twists out, that will give her room. Even without the aid of that hand, if you watch closely here where my knife would be, see, that gives her that much room. Okay. So the important thing in Kali, before we teach the technique, before we teach the disarm, we teach the reflex, because the technique without the reflex is worthless. So this is the very first time she's done this. So let's say that I now thrust it high, okay? It can go here. She has the option of using this hand, or she has the option of using this hand. So at this point now, for the training drill, her right hand is here. At that time, I go to the opposite side. Notice that where she cuts the line over here, this hand is held in reserve in case she misses. Now when I train, see, we're going to pick this up slowly so that you can see the various different ways. This is the flow drill, okay? And where she has to move, and then she feels me, okay? Okay, and turning the body up and down, and switching left and right. Now, I will touch her if she's not on there. Back. Again, now notice again when you switch here, and the hand is here. This hand is into the eyeball, okay? This hand would come over here at this point. Okay, at that point, notice where the strip would be, and that would be in a locked position, okay? Again, in slow motion, if I came to the high line and switched to the other side, the hand could be here, and it could be stripped. However, you can return it to the center both at the low line and at the high line. The return to the center is identical to the knife drill that you had. Notice where she would return it in here, stepping on my toes so I couldn't run away, and ejecting it out here. The best thing to do against the knife is to have an equalizer. Throw dirt, pick up a picture frame, run fast. We used to have an aerobic program, so that you will at least now notice the high line. Okay? The thrust is here, stripped off the body, and you can go into the throw. Okay? These are important to do because when the reaction time comes, before you learn that technique, again, the slow motion. See? Again, look closer. Okay? Slow motion. Notice where the hit is because they push the person back. Okay? The hand will be delivered in here. At this point, you can thrust it, but you probably go to jail, so put it here and strip it out. That's the important thing, okay? All right? So we start the drill again. We start the thrust program in the beginning stages again, going like this, turning the body. And for the purpose of training, always thrust it as far as you can thrust it. See, when this thrust comes up here, you're going to try to slash that person, so that hand has to come out here. You're going to try to pull here, and so, please don't move yet. I'll try to slash here because I have the hand here. Now when she turns her body, notice what happens to the circle, so that when you move it again, okay, you come out. So your drill both can be delivered with the left hand and with the right hand always. So you're finding the motion, okay? And you have to learn how to take out the hand. Notice where the hand would be. Now the strip will be on the top, see? And that would be the lock position, okay? So it's important at this stage to get the reflex before you get the technique. Okay, at this time I'd like to explain how the Filipino art comes about, okay? Everything from ancient times, the weapon is always taught. So if there was a slash position, we learned the dagger first to insert. Okay, slow motion again. 2. Or slow motion again. 1, 2. Okay? When you do it empty hands, you attack either the brachial nerve or the ulnar nerve. Okay? So when you hit it, there is a shot into the eyeball, and you have struck the ulnar nerve, which is your crazy bone or the brachial nerve, and then hit is hit. And usually the first series we teach is the elbow and the knee. Once we accomplish that, we take it to this side, again in slow motion, eye poke, back fist, elbow to the face or elbow to the deltoid, turning around and hit. Okay. Notice that this was for the lead hand. Sometimes when the punch comes from the rear hand, you use it from that side. The same position is used, but usually you plant the foot in this manner over here. Okay? Okay, repeat again. For the rear hand, you just move it out. Okay? Sometimes the elbow is used this way. The elbow comes up, the knee, and plant. And you can foot sweep this if you so desire, or go into various technique takedowns. Okay? And it should be done left and right. Okay? A lot of the techniques they use in the collie is taken from, as I said before, the knife. For an example, if a kick was to be delivered to my head, let her put the foot up here so you can see it. Okay? The knife would actually slash at that time. In slow motion again, slash. Okay. When you don't have the use of the knife, the elbow is used, and we dig into the calf muscle nerve like this. And it is like saluting a person like that. Okay. If you put it this way, you will hurt your own elbow. Okay. But if you angle it this way, it's here, and it gives a little kind of an elevator effect. Okay. All right. Again, a lot of our techniques, I said before, the knife. So if she were to kick here, see, that would be the first one. Notice how I hook the leg across here, and this is struck, this is kick, this is here, and then the knife is shot in. Okay. If you have no knife, that is the kick. Okay. Notice again, they lift up, destroying the nerve here, or kicking, okay, to the groin, and at the same time to the opposite leg, okay. So the drill would be, if they kick to that side, you lift the knee up, destroy, lift the knee up, destroy, lift the knee up. Very typical, it typifies the collie system in the Filipino martial art. That's the first motion that they teach, okay. Now, when the kick is here, it can be delivered with your left knee, which gives you the side kick here, okay. So this motion is here, see? If on that side, you can use your reverse knee, which comes in here. When your reverse knee is used, see, the side kick is delivered here, okay? This is very important because the destruction is very important, okay? When the side kick is delivered in this section, the knee is delivered again, see, like that, slow motion, or the elbow is used down, sometimes exposing this, giving it so the knee elbow come down, or the knee can be used up, okay? You can destroy kicking the thigh. But we never passively, when the kick is done, go like that and jump back. All right? Many times we do deliver here, if the kick is here, automatically, because the knee is destroyed here. This is very typical of collie and penjak silat in the art. The arts of Malaysia, Indonesia, and of the Philippines they have a lot of common. Silat is practiced in southern Thailand. It is practiced in Malaysia, in Singapore, and in the Philippines. The Philippines at one time was called Maralikas, okay? But the name is different. When you call it, in the Philippines, they refer to it as Kuntao Silat. They're mixing the art of Kuntao, which is probably a Chinese extraction mixed in with the Silat. That's taught in the southern Philippines. So we say Silat, Okay? In Malaysia, it is known as Bersat Silat, and in Indonesia, it is called Pencak Silat. And in the Philippines, whatever the tribe is, they could be Silat Tausug, which means it's a Silat from the Tausug tribe, or Silat from Maguindanao, or Silat from Maranao, which these are the tribes in which the Silat comes from. But basically, the Silat is practiced in the southern section of the Philippines and to a certain degree in the central part. Kali is another word for Silat. Eskrima is a derivative of Kali, or Arnes is a derivative of Kali by some people's interpretation. Okay, a lot of our empty hands, okay, come from the motion of the stick. As I was saying before, your basic hand motion, I'm just going to go slow here, because this is a stick exercise, see? But the sound of the stick, two things are hit. One hit would be the knuckle, and then the head, and the palm. See? This is what we call shikut, meaning to tie, hubad, meaning to untie, and hubad, meaning to blend with your opponent. Okay? And we can go backhand to backhand, and then move up. Okay? This is the, and we can move it very slow. Okay? Notice the hand position here where we punch. See? Okay? This is very necessary now to show you where the position would be. Usually done at high speed, but for the purpose of this film, we're going slow so that you can understand. See, at this point, all the cues are being used. The two, when to use the knee, the left knee, okay? When to use the various different kicks. See, that's one kick, that's the second kick. When to use sometimes the use of 3 kicks, okay? Okay, this is the basic Kali drill, okay? When to use the position of when that elbow can hit the crazy bone, okay? And use it of the left elbow, okay? And the use of the right shoulder, and the use of the left shoulder. These are all different lines in which we practice. It also teaches us when we find the different lines of attack or disarming, okay? So basically, this is what we refer to as the Filipino system of self-defense, because we use the tapi. Okay, in slow motion again, when you backhand, you tap, they tap out. Tap, tap out. This is the exercise which we call tapi or tapi, or as the American Filipinos say, tap. In reality, we wouldn't do this long, but this is to exercise your trapping hand. Okay? Notice that when she hits with the puño, okay, she can trap on the inside of the hand. She can trap on the outside of the hand. Okay? So it is when she holds the dagger exercise in slow motion again. Tapping exercise would be like that. Inside or outside the trap would be. Okay, but in reality she would trap and stick. Okay? Over here she might come up here and grab and hit. Okay? So that when you practice all the way down the line, this could be a hammer fist, which is held this way. This could be a knife hand, which is held this way. It could be a half fist. It could be a finger jab. It could be some type of claw weapon or some type of method. So the exercise will still continue. Okay, that's the trapping. Okay. Again, I'll go back to here. So there are 3 speeds in the training of the hands. Okay. Notice now I am going to lose one of the weapons. Okay. She will strip on this weapon. Okay, out, and we will continue the flow. Okay. Now, notice how narrow. In the beginning, we might not be this narrow. See. Okay, we're going to back up just a little bit over here like this. Okay. Okay. And we go high. And we use the backhand just like you had to take backhand again. See? Then we come over here, using the fist, the training. Notice over here, we could destroy the fist at that time. This is a very favorite one of a lot of Kali men. See, why the destruction of the fist comes from the movement of the dagger. So if they were to punch, notice how this takes the place of the hand. So now the elbow does the same work as that dagger. So all the motion are from the movement of the dagger. Okay, now, it can be done very, very slow. See, this is one of the cases. When I look in systems, and this is part of the Jeet Kune Do concept, this looks like Tai Chi, but it's not Tai Chi. See, in actuality, see, you're not going to spend this long. See, you would move in to different variables. See, this is one of the tactics that you might use, okay, to get into so that you sweep the foot. Okay? In reality, when they punch, it would be one motion and that you would be in. Okay? But in the training flow, you do this. I look for similarities because there's similarities in every system. For an example, if you were to punch and I do a pak sao, as they call it, Wing Chun, and I do a lap sao and gua choi, and I trap and hit. Very common technique that I learned from Bruce Lee. Okay? But you would think that's only in one particular system. But if you notice closely, a system from Kali derives in the same principle. See? Notice that you trap the hand, you come back here and hit. Okay? Let's take another similarities, because it's very, very important. Very important to realize principles and concepts, because every style has it. And so what we have done in the Jeet Kune Do process, remember again that Jeet Kune Do is not a product, it is a process. And the concept is to absorb what is useful. So we have borrowed a lot from the Filipino martial art because it's not a system, because what we want to do is improve ourselves. Okay, let's take a very common. When you trap the first barrier here, and you trap the second barrier, that's 2 shots. But that also exists stick-wise and an empty hand in Kali. They might do it just a little bit different. Notice the first trap, notice the second trap, notice the elbows here where we can go into the locking of the arm and going into the hits. Okay? So always look for similarities to improve your skill. Okay? For an example, you have a high, a low, and then a high. Very common one that we learn to go like that. Notice the hand position over here. So if she taps low, she goes up high. Okay? She has a rear hand, so she has to trap the rear hand. Okay? Very common technique, low, high, and then trap again. Okay? But you can find that thing if I handle the knife, which is one of the very basic ones we use in the Kali system, because we learn it from the knife and then go in empty hands. Notice that the identical technique, if she plunges it low and then she goes high, it's already here. If her hand comes here, the only other possibility is to put it down here, and the knife will be here. Yet they're 2 different disciplines, practically, but from different parts of the country. Okay, so that's important to realize in anything, that you have different types of arts, but they look for similarities rather than dissimilarities in different arts. Okay, some systems depend on long range. Okay, some people depend on close range. Some people depend on what we call ground fighting. Some people depend more on grappling. But the main point here is to develop various attributes at that level. Okay, just as there is sticky hands in Wing Chun. Okay, this is the concept of Wing Chun. Okay, right from here you can go in slow motion, so you go into your various strikes. However, you have the same concept in the Kali, which we call higut hubrat. See, that if I strike here and she strikes there, I'm in. So again, you have the same concept in 2 different arts. You have the same arts concepts which you might find in Penjak Silat. If she were to punch, and I were to make the motion like that and come up, this is a very common principle in Penjak Silat. Okay? All right? There are over 158 different styles. Notice again, this is Penjak Silat, but it looks like it could be from possibly Wing Chun, possibly from Kali. The same principle is being used there. Okay? Look at again a principle that you might find in Kali. And if she blocks, okay, notice it's there. Okay? Very interesting to notice that when the Americans first came into the Philippines, most of the boxers fought in what we call John L. Sullivan type. The hand was more like this. Okay? There was no slipping, left, right, and back. There was no ducking and dodging. It was just straight blast. Look at these fighters from John L. Sullivan, okay, to guys like gentleman Jim Corbett, did something like that. And when they punch, they watch some of the pictures, they put the hands back like this, just like the karate people. In the Philippines, if you notice the fighters at the same time period, the hand was up. They were slipping left, right, ducking, weaving, okay? Because from knife fighting, the knife has to be held in height when you strike. So if the knife is held this way to hook, the same principles are being used. Okay? That's very important to realize that different contributions of different people into the martial art. So in the Philippines, they already have the hand position here because you cannot put your hand out like that in knife fighting because it'll cut it off. Same thing in Siniwala. You would never fight a guy like that, hands out. His hand has to be in for protection so that you can strike. Notice the hand position. If you had a stick, you would stick
the hand position this way. Or, notice the hand position, okay? If your hands go like that, right? One is ready to strike. If I drop it, the motion comes from motion. If you look at a lot of Indonesian dances and Malaysian dances and Filipino dances, you can see that the form is in here already with this looking and bobbing and weaving. It is incorporated into dances, although a lot of people don't realize it. Now what we do is we take it out of the classical thing, but I teach the Indonesians with the straight classical also, but for the jeet-kune-do concept and for the blend, we take it out and employ the technique. And then have Paula do something intense out of what we call the third judo, okay? And she would face this way for the camera, and this is what they call a samba, or judo's 3, okay? And I'll explain it to you, okay? This is traditionally done to the sound of the drum and Indonesian or Filipino or Malaysian music, okay? This one here is an Indonesian form. Should I have to do it one more time so the audience can see it again? This is a classic, where all techniques are taken from that motion. That's a samba. Okay, now notice that the first samba, if I have her face the camera again from this angle over here, I'm doing the first motion of that particular gyros. Notice that motion here. Now, this motion here can mean three things. It is for the right punch, which is delivered right over here. Look at it again. So when she does it with opposite punching, it looks again like that. But that is one of the interpretations. Okay? Now the second one is if I throw my left hand, notice how the punch is here. Okay? Again, if I shoot here, the shot is here. Okay? Again. Okay, now I take my hand away. Notice it. It is just like the form. Okay? The other one is when the hand is on both on the outside. That's the shot. Again, it's slow motion. From here, she has the option of going into various different types of tactics, right? Different types of follow-ups and so on. But that's what we do. We take it out of the classical concept and then do the approach. Okay? We do the approach by not modernizing it, but taking it out of structure, and if they want to later on go back and learn the form where it originally came from, that's what we do. Okay? The next thing that was very common in the Philippines, in the jeet-kune-do concept and in the Filipino martial, we like to train the attributes, because the training of the attributes are very important. Okay? Now I'm going to use her to just go through some of the basics, not the whole workout, but I would like you to come back to it. Okay? We want to train various different tools of the body. So what we do is we incorporate the drill, whether it comes from Muay Thai, whether it comes from Savat, or whether it comes from Filipino Kali, whether it comes from Wing Chun. We take it and we put the drill into hitting drills. Okay, for an example, if I'm training this young lady, okay, we first put her either in the left stance or we put her in the right stance, and we, as if in the right stance, we go this way, and if it's this way, we go this way. Okay, we start off with a jab. That would be the jab. Okay, that would be the jab. Okay, jab, and jab. Okay, after we learn that, then we go into the next basic, and usually the next basic is jab, cross. Jab, cross, jab, cross, jab, cross. Okay, now in between that, after she finishes her jab, cross, I might hit her here, I might hit her here, I might hit her here, and hit her here. Okay, I might throw and then ask her to do jab, cross. Then the next basic usually we might follow is the use of the elbow. There's many ways to use the elbow. We go jab, elbow, jab, elbow, jab, elbow. Okay, that'll be one of the ways we train the elbow. Okay, then we go into combination. There could be a jab, cross, and a blow. Okay, a jab, cross, over, jab, cross, over. Okay, then we have what we refer to as a jab, cross, and a body hook. Okay, jab, cross, and body hook, and a jab, cross, and body hook. Okay, then we have the next drill is the jab, cross, and uppercut. Jab, cross, and uppercut. Jab, cross, and uppercut. For the purpose right now, because we're not really training for the purpose of the tape, we're just taking our time. Okay, then she has to learn a level of defense. Okay, the first one we teach our beginners is when I jab this position, or if I cross the position, she's going to shoulder roll. That means she gets away from this. Now, in reality, when you shoulder roll, you should use a side kick with it. Okay? But for training the hand simply, we shoulder roll, and then we cross, cross. Again, slow motion, shoulder roll, cross. Okay? Then we can put her in any object. I might throw the jab. She might shoulder roll. She might roll cross. Uppercut, roll cross. Okay? Again, slow motion, shoulder roll, cross, cross. Okay, at this time, we want to learn the basic motion. So we go what we refer to as the ball and weave. Common to Filipino boxing, common to Western boxing. So if I throw my first jab and she catches it, okay, and I throw it across, she bobs over here at 1 o'clock and weaves out to 11. Slow motion again, that becomes your hook, cross. Again, we'll do it 3 times for the purpose of the day, okay? Again, ball and weave, cross, cross. At the time, if I'm training her, I would correct her in different body positions, but not correct her too much as if she might lose the flow and correct her, let it go, okay? All right, now, if I jab over here, I'm going to hook. So she does the ball and weave in the opposite. These are not the only targets we use. But right now, ball and weave, okay? Cross, cross. Okay, slow motion again. Jab, ball and weave, cross. Sometimes she's unable to ball and weave, so she checks with the front hand, and she covers. Okay, so in other words, I jab, okay, and then I hook, she catches it here, and she hooks, cross, cross. Okay, slow motion again. I jab, and she covers. Notice how she's covered? Okay, hook, cross, cover. Okay. A lot of times when I pull the cross, she is going to be countering inside. She has 3 options. She can do the shoulder stop. Okay, see how it pulls me off balance? She can do a bicep stop, which is here. She can do a straight arm deflection, okay, which is over here, okay. She can actually hit the face, but we don't do this for the drill, okay. All right. So when she does a shoulder stop, let's say, I set my target. 1, 2, 3. Does it always have to be that? No. You can set your target. Slow motion again. I put my foot flips in my elbow, elbow, elbow. Look at it again, slow motion, okay? She covers the stop. She puts it over here, elbow, elbow, elbow. Okay, now, those are the ways we train it, okay? Because there's many, many drills, and you can almost take a tape and make 3 tapes on just how to use your basic tools, okay? A lot of times, if I'm jabbing, I'll show you why we do this. If I jab, and if she carries my cross, the elbow would be here. The knee would then follow here once and twice. This we like to do because they do this a lot in Muay Thai, okay? So again, in slow motion, 1, 2, carry, elbow, 1, 2, okay? Now, because your right hand cannot get back, if she would elbow here, my face would be exposed, okay? Right, and then we go 1, 2, okay? At this point over here, all right, so that she practices the elbow first, she will treat my jab as a cross. She would catch parry, elbow, double knee, 1, 2. Okay, again, slow motion, again. Okay, so you catch, parry, elbow, 1, 2. Okay, now, this point is very important, okay? When you strike over here, you want to have the body inclined back at a 45-degree angle. This is something we love in Muay Thai. A lot of the people at the academy on the process, we do what we call the knee. Notice that you lean back forward, and the knee is here. Now, I'm going to take her hands down here so you can see why. See? Okay? So that when I punch and her hands are down, I'm going to run right into it. Okay? In Thailand, the most dangerous weapon is the knee. If there are deaths in Thailand, and unfortunately there are, 70% will be done with the knee. The 30% will probably be done with elbow and with the feet. But the knee is considered. Now notice where the hand goes. 1, 2. The knee is here. This one's going to snap with the elbow when it lands 1, and that elbow will come over here. 1 and 2. Okay, in slow motion again. Okay. Notice the knee pump action. 1, 2. Okay. Or it can be followed by 2 elbows after the knee. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. Now watch. It should come with the knee first. Okay. Knee over here, then the elbows come right here. 1, 2. Okay? Alright, I'm going to do this in slow motion, okay? So you have a choice from going from elbow knee. If she punches, okay, and you come over here, your hand comes on the outside. Notice the position over here. The knee is delivered here, the snapping of the elbow is here, and the down elbow is delivered down. Okay, in slow motion again, okay? Now, all these drills, see, you automatically do this into flow. Okay. We are taught at our academy, or we'd like to teach our people, that if they do the same technique, right, and you start with Muay Thai, and you're doing Muay Thai, at any point you can go to seat up. Seat up is a very slow little switch
people there so you understand the possibility, so that you can flow from art to art without even knowing when you flow from art to art. Okay, now we work the legs. Okay? The legs we take from various different arts. Some are done from kickboxing, from Sabat, and from the Muay Thai. In Muay Thai we go through, but right now we're not going to be working on Muay Thai. We'll work a little bit more on things like Sabat. Okay, we position the hand position. In other words, if she wanted to kick, and Sabat kicks with the toe of the shoe to the kidney. Okay, right there in the kidney, it would be here to the kidney. And they use the toe of the shoe because the toe does the damage. Okay, all right. Notice where we put the glove. See, that would be here again, slow motion. Okay, so that she has the time to practice here. Okay, in Sabat, they will likely go to the calf bone. So we sometimes put the focus glove using the target again, slow motion again, please. 1 and 2. All right. The kick can be to the inside of the leg. 1, 2. Okay. So when we practice, we put the target up here. We put the target up here. We put the target up here. Okay. The side kick, we put it here. All right. Again, side kick has very different levels and very different levels. Okay. Any kick can be used with the focus glove. You can use the straight kick, okay, this way, okay, all right, using the instep, okay, again, slow again, okay, you can use the ball of the foot down, okay, and you can use the toe of the shoe as the toe of the shoe instead. All the time, your trainer will be hitting you, possibly even kicking you, okay, and setting the target. Okay? This is the basic. We use any discipline over here and set the target. Then going in the hand range, going out to kicking range and back. So that you learn to use your close quarter tools such as your elbow and your knees, and you learn to use your long range weapon like your feet. Okay? This is basically how we train. Okay? Anytime we train, sometimes we train with the gloves on. Okay? I like to pick on my people in the kickboxing, whether it's in the Sabat way or the Muay Thai way, or in the Jump On way, because each has its, I believe, its merit. And the kickboxing method would be Bondo, which is taught in the United States. Okay? Now you notice that I was using focus at that time, but you see, in Sabat they had an unusual way of training. You know, they had the target. You notice what my target is. See the target? And the first thing is called a saw. That means light touch. Everything she does is light touch. If my glove is not there, she just touches lightly like that. See what she does? Very lightly. See, just like that. See? Okay, notice that now, in Sabat they use the toe and it goes into the kidney. See? Bang, see? All right, now, when you do that, see, this is the way to train. Notice it's the same concept the Bruce had at the focus glove. The only thing the Sabat people now use the glove itself. Okay? Okay, notice that sometimes she will kick to this side here with her foot. Okay? Again, kicking here, kicking here, kicking here. Okay? All right, so sometimes she kicks low to my left. Okay? I set my target and she kicks high. Notice that Sabat moves left and right. Again, you go here once, back, and here twice. Now, I'll ask you to reverse that. She kicks high first here. Okay? Steps off of that side and kicks low here. Okay? Again, she steps out here, 1, and then 2. All right. Now, the drills are similar to anything. Okay? Let's say the person we teach, even on the Bruce, was, and even colleagues the person, she learns the jab. See? I learn the catch. See? I learn the catch. See? I learn the catch. See? That's the catch. Now, when the punch comes again, I learn to parry it to the left. See? That's the parry to the opposite side. Going in this direction, over here. Okay? All right? Then we learn to parry from here. See? To the hand, just the hand, because we're going to fire that hand here, fire that hand here, fire that hand here. Now, when she parries to the front, in the beginning we teach catch. But when we catch, I learn to then fire back. Slow motion, 1, 2, slow motion, 1, 2. Okay? For the first piano, we'll turn around in this angle again. So when we jab, you jab, and I catch. See? This is a very basic one, even before you start to spar. 2, 1, 2. Now, later on, she throws a jab, she throws across, and you come in. Slow motion, 1, 2. Notice what a hit will be. 1, 2 into the face. 1, 2 in the face. 1, 2 in the face. The other way now, she catches over here, and she throws across. Notice where my hand position would be. Okay, slow motion. 1, 2. For the purpose of hitting the gut. 1, 2. Purpose hit the gut again. 1, 2. This is the way we train. Rather than take it from the set, we do this, see? And from here, again, very common one they use in college, is they go here, see? Notice that I'm hitting the bicep every time she hits the cross. 1, 2. And automatically, if you're using the elbow, your foot will be up. Okay, now, at this point over here, you are educating both hands. Let me show you something very different between Western boxing and kune boxing. In Western boxing, the minute they jab, a lot of times, and they don't block a weak, and they throw this hook here, they cover like this, okay? And we just put the ear here, okay? Now notice the difference. That's the first difference. Notice how we monitor that other hand. Notice that when she hooks, notice where the elbow would have reached, it would have hit the face at that point. That is one of the very basics that you do in Filipino boxing. You monitor this hand, that tip is right here on the bicep here. So you have this one, it goes to the bicep. You have this one here, so it's on with it. We go to the rib cage, and we have this one over here that goes to the face. We also, at rare occasions, when they jab, and they hook the front hand, roll the bicep here, and I'm covered here, see? And that elbow is here, which gives the elbow here, which gives the elbow over here. So this is some of the things that they do. The last two elbows were from Muay Thai. Muay Thai has something good in the elbow because they always cover the head like this. Kane puts their hand here, which I prefer to use in Muay Thai fashion because it covers the head. So if she elbows me here, she's going to cover her head, see? I cover my head, okay? She covers her head, okay? Okay, another useful drill that you have in whether in kickboxing or in the street is your shoulder roll. When you shoulder roll, and she's crossed the person, and then move my cross back, you shoulder roll, shoulder roll, shoulder roll, shoulder roll, shoulder. Notice my catch is with my rear hand. However, it can be with my front hand, see? Then you learn to time the motion, you can come out the wind, and then go out here, slide up and over, and going through various different combinations, okay? All right, so this is basically the way we train them at the gym. To get a combination of, we like to, she throws a 1-2, okay, and then she round kicks to my side. Okay, so I might train like that, 1-2 from here. Bang, a sabat look closer with the difference between sabat. When they shoot their seat here, the classic position, they hold the hand out here. A lot of people know sabat now are going like this. As Muay Thai, when they go to 1-2, they use the whole shin. The whole body is turned and lifted into this motion. Now let's look at the difference between similarities, which you can go on to. The basic difference in that same technique, again comparing the 3 arts. In a savate, if you throw the 1-2, they keep the distance and they use the point of the shoe going like that. In Muay Thai, they want to get as close as you can to deliver the shin into the thigh, but they both do pretty good damage when you hit it. Okay? Now in college, they will do the same thing. Unlike Tenja, once they hit, they stay. Because this is important. Notice to the bottom, notice the left. I'm going to do this very slowly. Okay? So that you get the basic idea. Okay? Okay, let me explain again the jeet kune do concept. First of all, jeet kune do is not a style. It is not a product. It is a process in which we use different disciplines, whether it comes from Muay Thai or whether it comes from Zavata. If we have distance and if we have a weapon, we use weaponry, okay? Because that is your greatest advantage, okay? Now, if you don't have a weapon at different ranges, you can go from art to art. Out here, I could be kicking any system, northern system, southern system, Muay Thai, any position that you want, okay? You can do anything. That's kicking range. So whether you use Bondo, Burmese boxing, or whether you use Muay Thai, or whether you use Savat, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's say that this person is standing here. At this point, for purpose of illustration, I might use what they call the sachet, okay, that they use in Savat, which is like that, see? When I come in, I can go into Wing Chun. At that point, I might flow into Western boxing, okay? At another point, I might go into a lot similar to you might use in Jiu-Jitsu, and for the purpose of camera, I'll take the person down like this, and lock the person here, and maybe go into any system that employs this type of lock, whether it be Jiu-Jitsu, or Aikido, or Kali, or Punjab Silat. Now, you notice that we went from system to system without a flow, okay? I might stay out here, use any particular kick, break into Wing Chun range, and right from here, use a Muay Thai elbow, all right? And for the purpose of the camera, I'm going to go slow and come into the various lock position over here, okay? This is what we call Jeet Kune Do blend. It is not a system where we go from discipline to discipline without a thought process. And this is very important.
Hi, I'm Paul Bunak, and welcome to Energy Drills. First of all, let me tell you, what is energy? What exactly is the feeling of energy, or pressure, or sensitivity? You'll hear it called a lot of different names, and a lot of different arts have these drills. What it is it's the ability to read somebody's pressure. And if you're not in trapping range, you're not touching them, so it's a moot point. So this is only for arts that fight out of trapping range, such as Wing Chun or Kali. Now, for each art, they have a different energy drill, predicated on how the art is. For example, Wing Chun, their main battle punch is a straight blast. So their energy drill is two hands rolling this way. It's called jeet out, because that's going to be the way they're going to be in a fight. Kali, on the other hand, they like to go and get to what we call zero pressure, which is one hand on, one hand off. This is why they have a drill called huba. So for each art, they have a different energy drill. What's unheard of, though, is to mix these drills. It's just a whole different kind of animal. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, Brad, let me borrow you. I want you to see what I'm doing with energy, just to give you an idea. Let's say, for example, we're in a fight and we push right here. Now, if Brad is pushing with this hand, all I want to do is just read where energy is, and then boom, I can put in what I want. Headbutts, knees, elbows. Later, we're going to put the gear on him. But all I'm really doing with energy is learning to read to always get to zero pressure. So what we're not doing is we're not both fighting here. And then one guy gets to bring the idea to get up and headlock. What we're doing is we're just reading the energy and boom, we're going to go in and do our thing. So what we do is we have energy drills, and then we're going to develop our techniques out of the drills. So let's pause for a moment, go back, think about this, then we're going to come in and do the drills. Thanks. Now with that in mind, what I'd like to do is go to our first energy drill. This is called the lop style drill. But I want you to understand, before we actually move on, is you are not going to be able to gain energy from watching the tape. It's impossible. It'd be like watching Michael Jordan play basketball and learn how to jump. It's an attribute. But what I can give you is I can give you the structural points. And once you understand those points, then you get in with a man who does know energy, and then you can flow. So that's the whole key here. We also want to point out the fact that during the course of these energy drills, whether it be a Filipino energy drill, like Huban, or a Chinese energy drill, like Jeet Out, we can implement other arts, other nationalities, as Bruce would say, using no way as way. So these are the points I'm wanting you to get, is that we're going to try to flow, try to be natural. I'm going to show you the structure of the hands, and then I'm going to show you how you can implement different arts out of that. But you're not going to get energy, so let's be real about that. All right, let me bring in this there. Now, the first drill is called the lop style drill. It's a very easy drill. I want you to think of your elbows as pinned together. There's a pin through your elbows. What we're going to do with this hand is I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to come in and backhand. He's going to ball style with his front hand. Now, he's going to do the same thing to me. And all we're doing is we're doing this drill over and over again. From this position, let's shift here. We're going to go very slow. Now, you're going to have some Wing Chun people saying, nah, straight all the time. Do it again. Other one's going to go, well, let's go to the backhand. Other one's going to go, oh, look at his form. Jesus, goes out that way. We're not the perfect. The point Bruce was trying to make is, it doesn't really matter where your big toe is. The key is that you have the right energy and you have an athletic movement when you do it, hopefully with a little intensity. All right, so I'd like you to try that in the mirror. Now let's pick up where we left off. We're going to continue with the lop style drill. Then from there we're going to go to Huban and then Jeet out. Remember, we're learning just the shells. We're not going to throw any strikes out of these. We just want to show you the form. We want to show you how we're just moving around. We're not really knowing where we're going. We're not planning here. We're not in any particular pigeon toe position. We're just moving around a little bit. Just want you to get a feel for what it looks like. Okay, left. The most important thing is that we attach the elbow. Now, when I get to this point, right when I backhand, if I grab this and pull, now we're on this side. There's something real strange about this drill. When you do this for a while, and then you're in a fight and he punches, the minute you get this reference point right here, boom, that's your lop style. Anytime you get some kind of cohesion here, you're going to be the first one to do that. Why? Well, because we're wrong here. This is our neighborhood. We're staying here. We play here. We know every little nook and cranny from this position. Now, who do you think is going to come out first the minute you're here? Boom. That's what we're looking to get. So what the lopsided drill does is it teaches you how to get a hold of a handle. The minute you feel that handle, then you pull it. And that's just the beginning. That's our entrance. All right, now you try it. Now we're going to move on to hubud, which is our next energy drill. I'd like to start you off with the sticks and show you how it transfers to empty hands. Okay, Larry? Okay, we're going to start off in long range, in Largomano range. We're going to break in, we're just kind of flowing, and then we're going to get into hubud, the energy part, which was close quarter. Okay, long range. See, right here, right about here, this is our energy part. This is where I'm pushing, but as I push, he raises to borrow that energy. He's going to slap right here, and boom, come back down. So it's always a cohesion, and then a slap, and then a strike. So it's a touch and go, as opposed to the Wing Chun way, which is two hands are touching at the same time. And once again, why is that? Well, it's indicative of the art. When somebody throws a punch at you, you're going to zone. The minute you zone, one hand will be on the check, your other hand's free to hit. Sorry, let me try again. So a jab. Notice what I'm going to do is I'm zoning to here. So there's one hand on, one hand off. Okay, it's this angle. Do it again. Boom. Now it's the power of Wing Chun man. As soon as he jabs, boom, coming in this way. Now two hands are coming in. So why hubud? Well, it's one hand goes, one hand releases. Okay, now let's make the transition to the empty hand. Right? Now, if he had a second hand, the angle would be coming down at number one. So we're going to do the same thing. As it comes down, I'm going to catch it. I raise, slap, and I hit. When you see us doing this in demonstration or seminars, we always exaggerate the angle and pull it out so people can see. Not the way to do it. Eventually, you want to tighten it up. It's almost like a Wing Chun thing where you're in center line. So the next drill we're going to go to is called hubud. And what I want you to say to yourself is raise, slap, and hit. Raise, slap, and hit. For people that already know hubud, we're going to boost it up a little bit and go full contact with it. But for right now, if you don't know it, just work that sequence. Now we're going to move along to chi sao. This is an energy drill from Wing Chun. Very, very difficult to teach. All the movements are very, very intricate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you a shell. And once again, you're going to have to find somebody that knows it. Once you've got that shell, then you can get their energy, as opposed to spending 4 years learning the roll, going from Dan Chi and moving you all the way up. We don't need that. Let's just go right into chi sao. We don't need a pigeonhole position. We don't need to, he just said, this is taking athletics. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to pay particular attention to where your big toe is. We're not going to worry about if this is here or here. I'm just going to give you the basic shell. All right, Larry. Before I do this, I want you to understand why chi sao is the way it is and how many positions there are, which are 4. In a fight, you're either going to have 2 hands on the inside, 2 hands on the outside, Larry's 2 on the outside, 1 in, 1 out, or 1 in and 1 out this way. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we're in the boxing skills, we're going to jab and parry mine, bam, bam. This is where we are. Cohesion here. Yeah, and we're stuck right at this point. If, let's say, he swings at me twice, boom, boom, and we're stuck here now. I may come in with this, jab, boom, and we're stuck here. So for whatever position or for whatever reason, you're going to get stuck in one of these positions. So we say, hey, well, let's come up with a drill. So when you get there, you can read his energy and be the first to get in. There's an old saying, the firstest with the mostest is the bestest. So the first shot you want to get in is to read that energy. And then that's when it hits the fan. Okay, now let's start on the chi sao. The very first position we're going to use. One hand is on the outside, one hand is on the inside. My hand on the outside, my elbow has to be in. The single most important thing about Wing Chun is that you're occupying center line. This is why we do not end up on the ground if we're a good Wing Chun man, because we're occupying center line. If you're a Wing Chun man and you get in a fight and you end up on the ground, there's absolutely something wrong. So now, from this position, my elbow being in is being right here. Now, this is called a fuk sao. I'm not going to pay too much particular attention with the terminology. But this is called a foot south. We turn it this way, it's called a tan south. But regardless, the elbow is still in. Larry, on this end, is going to go to either a bong south or it's going to return back to a tan. Okay, so this hand here is staying in, and I'm always staying in the middle. Now let's shoot over here, Larry. Now we reverse it, where this hand is on a foot south, and this hand goes from bong to tan. So what we end up doing, what it's going to look like, it's going to look like we both have a ball in our hand, and we're rolling with it. But the key is one elbow has to stay inside. Let's just say, for example, if I'm like this, and I do not have anything occupying center line, and Larry does it. For whatever reason, we clinch right here. Where are we going to end up? Right on the ground, if we don't get headbutt first. However, if that same clinch position happens, bam, and I'm in center line, I've got control. This is where I can control the fight. If Larry wants to come down to tackle me, see, I'm always in center line. And then that's when you're going to put in your thing. All right, now let's take it from the beginning. He's in a foot south, he's in a tan south. Now what's really happening is this is staying right here, and just this is turning. Okay, now this is going to roll from a tan up to a ball. Okay, so give me a roll, Larry. Now if you're noticing here, this bone right here, this is called the humerus, it's staying in. This is not moving. This is representing the, go ahead and raise your bone cell. This is representing the hand that's on the outside. And the reason this hand doesn't move is because he wants to occupy center line. He needs to be here. If that elbow moves up, boom, I'm in. As soon as I see that elbow moving up just a little bit, just that enough, boom, that's going to go in. If we're in a fight and the minute I clutch bang him, I'm going to go in first. That's the first thing you do is you find center line. If, when I ride him at this point, I get some kind of energy with his hand, that's when you come in and boom, do your thing. But the key is you've got to be in center line first. Can I borrow that belt? Okay, there's a real easy way to do this. Just to kind of get you used to keeping one hand in, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little belt on Larry here. And now that's going to prevent this arm from really doing anything. Let me take that. There. Now, notice what he's doing. Just this wrist is going to turn. Okay, go ahead. Face the camera a little bit more, Larry. There you go. That's it. And now walk a little bit. Just walk normal. Just say, you want to get the feeling of just walking normal. We're not putting ourselves in any particular stance. Okay, good. Thanks, bud. Okay, so here's what we've established. The hand that's on the outside occupies center line. This bone does not move. Stays right here. This hand is going from tan to bone. And together, it's sort of formulating this look. Now, once again, I cannot give you energy. It's possible to give energy through a videotape, but you can get the form. And then when you lock up with somebody in Chi Sao, hopefully through a sort of an osmosis, you'll get the energy. So Chi Sao is a funny thing. You get the energy from training with somebody. You tend to feel the way they do. Dan was on the end of Bruce for 9 years. You know, being on the end of Dan for 15 years, I'm very fortunate because I have that feeling of Dan. Not quite as good, but the feeling is there. Okay, let me borrow a ball. All right. If we just take this ball, and if we hold it in this position, and this is here, this is kind of the feeling that I want you to represent. I just want to try every analogy I can to get you to relate to this. Notice my left hand is not moving. So first we tried the belt, now we tried the ball. Okay? This hand here, like you're looking at your watch, for my New Yorkers, pouring a beer, whatever. All right, so we're right here. Tan Sao, Foot Sao. Roll, and come back down. And that's Chi Sao. Okay, Larry. Now let's put it together. My hand is on the outside. His is on the inside. His hand's on the outside. Mine's on the inside. We make our first roll. This is our position. Now we roll from here. Notice his left forearm is not moving. It's staying in center line. Notice my left forearm is not moving. It's staying in center line. This is what we call the shell. From this shell, there's a myriad of techniques we can do. We don't even need to stay in Wing Chun. We're going to be borrowing from Kali, from Thai boxing, from Tai Chi. But right now I want you to get the shell of the three arts. All right, let's play with it. Now we have all three drills, the lap-style drill, chi-style, and hu-bud, coming from different nationalities. It's important now that we blend them together. If you have just the energy of, let's say, a Wing Chun man, and you're in and you're forward, and both hands are on, that's great. If you have just the energy of, say, a Kali man, where you're perpetually zoning, well, that's good too. A Wing Chun man occupies center line. He's forcing his opponent to hook, and when he hooks, he's going straight. Great concept. Kali, on the other hand, gives center line. Now he's forcing his opponent to come straight, and he's zoning. Another good concept. When you mix the two together, you get a whole different animal. So what we're going to do to segue into being able to mix these together is we're going to do it in the drill. We're going to do all three shells. And then I'm going to take one art at a time or one technique at a time, and we're going to slowly, with a progression, integrate these into the shell. And if we do that, if we can pull off Panachukan or Panajakman or arm wrenches or headbutts or locks or flips or throws, if we can pull those off together while we're sparring within the confines of an energy drill, then when the street fight comes, we can pull off our techniques. This is why we have so many people that know so many techniques. I see it all over the world, black belts that know zillions of techniques, but they can't use them. What's the problem? They know how to do the technique, but they don't have the attribute to support it. If you don't have the attribute, you can't do it. You can't pull it off. So what these energy drills give you is they give you the attribute to pull it off. It doesn't have to be the drills I'm going to give you. It could be any energy drill you want. It could come from Tai Chi or regardless. All right, let's start off with a lap-style drill. We start with our elbows attached to us again, and boom, we're just going back and forth. We'll shift here. Go to hu-bud. See, he doesn't know what I'm going to do. I might all of a sudden just change drills. We're just sort of flowing. We're going from one structure to another. Notice there's no hits right now because we're just doing the drills. Let's slow everything down just a little bit here. Okay, so see if you can recognize what drill we're doing. I shift to this position. Everything we're doing here, you need this. You need this particular mechanics. For hu-bud, you need this particular way to move. For chi-style, you need this particular way to move. They're all like two halves to a whole. So what I'd like you to do is blend all three shells together.